This week on The Cynical Optimists.
Netflix breaks ties with Daredevil.
Bethesda breaks hearts with Fallout 76.
And Ralph breaks the internet in our discussion. Hello and welcome to the Cynical Optimist podcast, now available in 0D. That's no video, just sound. It's mad. I'm Phill.
And I'm Nick.
And to follow up on that opening remark, iTunes. You can go on there right now, subscribe to us. Maybe you're already listening to us on iTunes. If so, hi there, welcome to the show.
If so, close it, open it again, click on us again.
Unsubscribe and then resubscribe. Just
leave a review. You can leave reviews on iTunes.
You can.
It's wondrous technology.
Please be kind. I've got a very soft spirit, really.
You can listen to it on your iPad. You can listen to it on your iPhone. That's the end. I was going to riff on that, but that's it.
Listen to it on your iWatch.
No, don't do that. It's very quiet.
But you know what is disappointing? Is that Google Podcasts is not available outside the US yet.
Damn.
So, if anyone's got some other podcast sharing services that we can kind of submit our RSS feed to...
Well, we're on SoundCloud as well, so if you are an Android user, you can...
Yeah. For Android, you can use the SoundCloud app or use, I'm guessing, probably browser as well to go onto SoundCloud. Our episodes are also downloadable, if you did want to just do it that way.
Listen to it on the go.
Yeah, there's just so many...
Listen to it on the plane.
So many more ways to listen to the Cynical Optimist podcast than there were...
That's right, we're stabbing YouTube in the back.
Well, YouTube stabs its own users in the back quite a bit, so... And also it's a podcast. Eventually we had to put it on a podcast service, presumably.
Yeah. Film and TV news.
Yeah.
Nah, don't celebrate too early because Daredevil's been cancelled.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm gutted. It's actually when Netflix say that they're not going to show there won't be a season 4 on Netflix. There's always the possibility that it might go on to Disney Plus or I don't know, fold into the proper MCU at some point. I don't know, it's very unclear about where it's going to be headed next, but they said in their post their official statement, they were like, the man without fear will live on, or something like that. So there could be some reincarnation for the character at some point somewhere else.
It would make sense because Daredevil's it almost gives them a chance for a bit of a soft reboot if they move it over to Disney Plus, because they can get rid of the stuff they didn't like about the Netflix run. Yeah, when they reintroduce it, so they can get rid of Iron Fist.
Everything about the Netflix run was good. Not Iron Fist, Daredevil.
Yeah, they'll just be like, oh yeah, the Defenders, that was only the good ones. That was only Luke Cage, Daredevil, and Jessica Jones. We don't know where you're getting these other ideas from.
I really hope they keep the cast, because season 3 was just excellent, and Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio as Fisk as well. It's just, I really hope they carry on into the MCU.
I would be very surprised if it doesn't get bought into the Disney Plus. Honestly,
I mean, yeah, they have talked about Disney Plus is going to be like a family thing though, and all those Netflix shows are decidedly R-rated. You know, you can't just suddenly pop Kingpin in Disney Plus show and he's bashing in people's heads with a car door again, but in a very kid-friendly show.
I don't know, because I'm right in saying it's what Loki has a series coming up. I doubt that's going to be completely innocent. So I'm sure these MCU shows will probably have a bit more of a remit.
But all these Netflix shows are all 18, except for maybe Iron Fist.
Which they don't recommend you watch at any age.
Ooh. Sick burn. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. Daredevil is probably one of the best TV Marvel shows. It probably is the best TV Marvel show.
I actually haven't caught up on the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that definitely got better as it went. But because I've never seen Daredevil and you've never seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we'd just be basically here comparing apples to oranges for a while if we started that argument.
Yeah, but the apples are better though, aren't they?
Says you.
So that's one show that I love out of the way. How about a show that neither of us will love?
Okay.
The Moffat and Gatiss Dracula series. They've just cast their Dracula.
Oh yeah.
Claes Bang, I think is how you pronounce his name. I don't know where he's from. I should have probably looked this up.
Would I have seen him in anything, or do you not know?
I have no idea. I just kind of saw the headline and I didn't really want to click on it. They
should have cast Scott Bakula, because then it would have rhymed. Scott Bakula as Dracula.
You gonna watch it?
I'll watch, the first two series, because those will be pretty good. But is it going to be the same format of 3 episodes of like an hour and a half, or are they going to actually do it in a different way?
Nah, they'll probably do it the same. Well, did you ever watch Jekyll? That was like 6 episodes, I think.
Okay. No, I never watched it, but I heard it was alright.
Yeah, it was alright, yeah. It's just very, very Moffat-y. I mean, the female characters are identical to like Doctor Who female characters. One of the main females says "Hello, sweetie" every time she appears on screen. It's like, oh wow,
wow,
this is painful, isn't it?
So I think we could watch the first season and just have our Moffat bingo cards ready.
Yeah. Then again, we spoke about it briefly before. How are you? Are you up to date on Doctor Who again?
Yes.
Are you? I'm a little bit disappointed at the lack of story arc. I'm not gonna lie.
I think it's... Well, the thing is, they've set out to be like, this is going to be reasonably straightforward, and it has been. I think the last 2 episodes have definitely been the weakest 2 of the run. Because Giant Packaging Corporation is lightly framed Amazon analogy was like, okay.
Oh, did you hear Amazon accidentally, in inverted commas, didn't put that episode up originally?
Did they not? Oh.
No, because they're distributing it to the US, obviously. You can, on I don't know if it's Instant Video or Prime Video, whatever it is. They put up the following week's episode instead of that one when it was supposed to release. So that was quite funny.
And then I thought the Witch Hunters was last week.
Oh yeah, that was kind of fun.
It was kind of fun. I think the premise was one of the basic things where when someone is doing like a mind map, a brainstorm of like, okay, the Doctor is a woman now. What can the story be? Seems like one of the first things that get said is, what if the Doctor gets confused for a witch?
But Alan Cumming was pretty good in that one, right?
Yeah, so I thought it was fun enough, just compared to what I've come to expect on this season.
Okay.
So, at the end of the day, this is good because I'm saying, oh, that was a rare, slightly worse, slightly less enjoyed episode. Whereas for the last few years, I've been going, that one was actually quite good. Now, I'm not looking forward to next week because Stephen Moffat's writing again.
I think the trouble is it's not even that I want necessarily a big bad. It's just like I feel some of the characters haven't really sort of developed. Maybe
I don't know. I think the individuals kind of have their story arcs.
I'm just not sure. I mean, it's kind of the opposite of where Moffat was, in that Moffat had to have his hand in all the pies kind of thing, and like made sure that everything was part of like the bigger story, even though he'd got himself in so many knots.
He had his hands in all the pies, and the pies were actually cakes, and underneath the cakes were like pictures of your grandchildren. It's like, how do you have these? These haven't been born yet, and just got complicated.
That's exactly it. But no, I feel like maybe Chibnall hasn't quite got his hand on the series as a whole.
And I think having 3 companions compared to 1 makes it a bit difficult as well, because I have a good feel for all of their characters now, and I feel like there's obviously the arc, because obviously his gran died, and that's his wife. Those two have had a bit of an animosity at the beginning.
Yeah, again,
And
I
that
think that's
seems to be lowering, and that's...
Exactly, I think it's kind of phased out a bit, and the characters kind of haven't... Like, because I'm pretty sure in episode 3, or 4 maybe, they implied a little bit of romance between Yaz and Ryan, and that kind of phased out a bit as well. I mean, I'm not saying every show has to have that, but like, I don't know.
No, I know what you mean, and I think those will probably... I think those will be like almost the small character arcs, is that Ryan will come to call him Granddad or something, and then Ryan and Yaz will get together, and that'll be like it.
I shouldn't complain. As I said, we were complaining about the entirety of the Moffat era, saying it's too convoluted, and now that it's gone the other way, I'm still complaining again.
Yeah, you're just impossible to please. You're just...
I know. I'm such a typical sci-fi fan, aren't I? I'm just...
You should
just never happy.
You should start a fundraising campaign to reshoot this series.
Cast Doctor Who back as David Tennant.
And all the enemies will be the Daleks or the Cybermen.
Yep, every episode.
Yeah, it's not a spider, it's a spider.
It's a very good quality season, I shouldn't complain.
Yeah.
And yeah, the writing is a lot better than it was. I can't remember if we covered this. The last episode was a while back, but back onto film news. More cinematic universes, including the Roald Dahl story universe that's coming to Netflix. Have you heard about this?
I did, but we haven't spoken about it on here, I don't think.
Okay, right, yeah. Well, yeah, that's happening.
Yeah, but isn't it starting off with the ones that have already been adapted to screen, like before?
Yes, Matilda, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach, The Witches, Oliver Twist. I've just named all those are all Roald Dahl, right?
Yeah. Oh wait, no, Oliver Twist isn't.
No, the Twits. That's what I meant.
Oh. No, I can't wait till the end of Matilda when she comes home and there's a dark silhouette against the window and Fantastic Mr. Fox turns round. Here to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative.
That was a great film, that last Fantastic Mr. Fox movie. Wes Anderson one.
Yeah, it was that kind of strange style of animation, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah. He did Isle of Dogs, the same director. It's really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's happening. As you said, I don't know if what they mean by story universe, whether that's just a collective of like... I think it's mostly animation is what I've heard. So I'm guessing it will just be like a load of similarly animated stories.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to try and force crossover. At least I hope they don't. That would
Who's
be
the big
weird.
Bad? Who's the big bad if they do? Boggis, Bunce and Bean or the Farmers?
Boggis, Bunce and Bean team up with the Twits. And the rest of them have to take them down.
To be fair, you're saying it. I kind of want that now. Mrs. Trunchbull as well from Matilda. Yeah, I kind of want this now. What have we done?
She's definitely henchman tier though. She's not big bad tier. She's one of the ones that gets, who
would go up against her? Be Willy Wonka versus Mrs. Trunchbull.
Yeah, she'd be like throwing cakes at his giant glass elevator as he's like dodging them.
Brilliant. Or they could just imagine if it was like little subtle references. So like that cake that Bruce has to eat in Matilda. What if it's made out of Wonka bars?
See, that's the kind of thing that I wouldn't like. Would be fine. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah,
that'd be quite fun actually. Cool. Well, that's done then. The big news. Well, last week's big news, but we couldn't cover it. Was the reveal of the Lion King trailer.
Yeah, didn't that come out like a day or so after we recorded the last episode?
Yeah. It was also after we said, there'll be no news on Black Friday this year, because there was none last year.
To be fair, there was very little news.
Yeah, apart from that. I mean, we could talk about that for an episode, I'm sure. Just the trailer. I mean, it's the most viewed trailer of all time, I want to say, within 24 hours or something.
Really?
I think so, yeah. Something crazy.
The thing is, I can't remember whether I've seen it.
You must have.
I must have, and I remember watching something to do with it, but it's so forgettable that I can't.
Forgettable? Nah, you're wrong on this one.
It was. I thought it was very much shot for shot, the animated one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's pretty stunning, and it's just hearing that music again, and what a cast, and I'm just so excited for this.
It does raise the question, though. At what point do we refer to it as animation and not CGI if there's not going to be any humans in it?
Oh yeah. It's not live action at all.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because Jon Favreau, who's directing this, did The Jungle Book, and people could say that's live action, but
because there's one human.
There's one human, and the entire set and everything else is CGI.
Yeah.
Let's say the photorealistic Lion King remake. It's probably the best way of describing it. I had to watch the original. Had to. I love it. After this trailer was released, my partner had not seen the original.
You'd not seen The Lion King?
No.
That's nuts.
So I know. So I had to watch that immediately. It's so good. I think we should do an episode on the original at some point.
Sure. I mean, what I did was I was travelling, so I just listened to the Lion King soundtrack, like
very nice
from the stage show.
It's such a good show.
Yeah.
And film. I'm just excited for this.
So to be honest, this is going to be a disappointment if it's anything less than like amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if they did it shot for shot. Thing is, I don't think they can do it shot for shot because a lot of those like music sequences, they've got like a lot of like weird Aboriginal like animation going on and stuff. It's a gorgeous looking film, that original, and then if they do it photorealistic, they're not going to be able to do the same colours and the sky and everything.
Also, if they're going for like the kind of realistic style, I'm pretty sure there's a bit in the original animation where a bunch of animals are stood on top of each other.
Yes.
Yeah, that probably would not be in a shot for shot.
Yeah, because I'm certain they're going to do this as an animation, as a musical. They must do, but like, how are they going to do those sequences?
Yeah, and also if it's not a musical, then I'd be very disappointed because the songs are just
amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm excited nonetheless. You know, next year, there's a Star Wars film, there's an Avengers film, we've got a Lion King remake. Disney are just going to... And they got their streaming service. They're just going to kill everything.
I mean, to be fair, this year there was a Star Wars film and an Avengers film.
Okay, the Star Wars film didn't kill everything.
No.
But next year is just... You know, where do you put independent films next year that isn't going to get rolled over?
Yeah, that's the thing. Whilst it's good it's good when the films are good. At the same time, you want the little guys to get a chance as well to get some attention.
I mean, they'll avoid Oscar season, obviously.
Yeah.
But as soon, I mean, and they got Captain Marvel as well. It's insane. What else have we got? While we're on superhero stuff, do you see the trailer for Once Upon a Deadpool?
Yes.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah. So is that just like a Christmas special, or like it?
No.
It looked like
it's
old footage as well, and I wasn't really sure.
It's a recut of Deadpool 2, told in like a PG story. Like, have you seen Princess Bride?
No.
Okay, well, they've got the kid from Princess Bride, Fred Savage, who, and they've kind of recreated the story structure of Princess Bride. Is it's the grandpa telling a young Fred Savage like the story of the Princess Bride kind of thing.
Okay.
And they've kind of recreated it. So Deadpool has like strapped adult Fred Savage to a bed, and he's telling him a PG version of Deadpool 2. Apparently, there's like 25 minutes of extra footage. It could be quite fun.
Yeah, to be honest, it sounds very Deadpool, and it sounds like a very Ryan Reynolds thing to do. And to be honest, it'll probably come out as just like quite fun.
Hopefully, I hope it's not just a cash grab. Apparently, it's like a one night only thing, so it's, I don't know, could be fun.
Yeah,
I will maybe watch it if we get it anywhere near me.
Maybe watch it next Christmas when it's on a streaming service, inevitably.
Yeah, maybe don't go out your way. We had some reactions for Aquaman. This comes after Phill suggested we shouldn't bother waiting for Aquaman for the awards episode because it's definitely not going to get any awards. But screw you, Phill, because the reviews have been pretty good so far.
Okay, but have they been Infinity War killing good?
No.
This is my point.
They've been... This is the best DC film since The Dark Knight kind of good.
So, do you want us to include a new category this year of best DC film?
Since The Dark Knight?
No, just best DC film this year.
Yeah, well, I suppose we could do. I mean, yeah, I say that, but what has come out since The Dark Knight? That's good.
From DC.
Not even not even Dark Knight Rises was that good.
Yeah, that's the thing. I rewatched. I was like, oh, I'll do a Dark Knight trilogy rewatch, and I got to the end of the Dark Knight, and I was like, you know what? That's enough.
Yeah. So yeah, this could be fun. We'll definitely watch it because we're doing an episode on it.
Yep. It's our Christmas episode.
Yeah.
Comes out on... Well, the film comes out like a week or so before, but it's going to... Because... Well, to be honest, we clearly weren't that hyped for it because we've put priority for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which comes out at the same time.
That's also got some like first reviews and stuff, and that's said to be excellent. So
yeah, like it might not even
probably
be
better than Aquaman.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're complaining, but it might not even be the best superhero film we review in that fortnight.
Well, that fortnight we've got Once Upon a Deadpool, Spider-Verse, and Aquaman. So
if you want our views on Once Upon a Deadpool, just go watch last season's episode on Deadpool 2, but play some sleigh bells in the background.
Exactly. Staying on DC news, have you seen the full title for the Birds of Prey movie?
Yes.
I quite like it. It's called Birds of Prey, and then scribbled over the top, and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. I think that's quite fun.
Yeah. No, I think DC don't know what they're doing, but as a result, they don't know, they're just doing anything. Yeah.
You know what? I think that's not a bad attitude to take.
It's like they've been playing darts and concentrating really hard on trying to get, like, the centre. Yeah. And they've been going so wrong. They've been, like, hitting the guy at the table next to them, hitting the wall. But now they're just wearing a blindfold and they're actually hitting the board.
Yeah.
And no one can explain it, but they're like, well, I'm hitting the board, so I'm going to keep doing it this way.
Do you think we need, like, crossovers again? Do you think we need Justice League films if they're just going to have fun with all their individual films? And they're giving the creators, like, pretty much full control over these individual films now, aren't they? Well,
that's yet to be seen.
Well, I mean, apparently Aquaman is just James Wan's film from the beginning, and they changed because there was a little interview I read a while back that they had to use like bubbles or something to communicate in Justice League. They were like to James Wan, "Are you going to do that again?" And he was like, "Nah, they can just talk underwater. It's fine." So, like, yeah, just do what you want. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just make good films. Don't I think lean them specifically.
The continuity was getting them all confused. So just focus on creating a good film. Yeah. And then when that's done, focus on creating another good film. Yeah. And before you know it, you'll have a cinematic universe anyway. And then maybe you can try
that's the thing.
That's
the thing. If they just carried on how they are, just make the films, and then just cross them over. Like you don't have to integrate the big story or anything like that. Just have them cross over when they need to. If Ben Affleck's still in as Batman or whatever, I don't know.
Or Henry Cavill's still in as Superman.
Who knows? But yeah, this Birds of Prey could be fun. Quite like it.
Yeah, no, the concept's solid.
Got a bit of event news this week for the first time. Have you ever been or seen about these secret cinemas they do in London?
No, I don't think I have. I mean, I think I may have heard that they exist, but I don't really know anything about them. So
they take a venue and they you buy tickets and they send you invites and they give you a character and you turn up as that character and the venue's all decorated to be like a scene from the movie, and it's a very like big experience. It's a 4D experience, if you would. of like enjoying that film. Like you're sort of there in character in the sets and everything like that, and then you watch the film. So they've done one for like Star Wars where they did the cantina scene and stuff, and they did Blade Runner, and it's all like neon lit around. And the next one's just been revealed as Casino Royale.
Oh, that'll be fun, and also quite easy to dress up for.
Exactly, yeah. I might try and get some tickets. I think they go on sale this Thursday.
Okay, so
although I should tell all the viewers that it goes on sale on Friday actually, because I want tickets. And
goes on sale Friday the 7th.
Yeah, but technically the day before.
But we're saying Friday the 7th, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is so smooth and so flawless.
Or, if you don't fancy that, I think Hugh Jackman's just announced he's going on tour with Les Miserables and The Greatest Showman. And
yes, I saw that.
He's been in. He's doing the Logan musical. So yeah, go see that if you don't fancy Casino Royale. It's fine. It was quite funny actually, because everyone he made like the big announcement that he was gonna. He made an announcement that he was going to announce something for like the Thursday just gone.
Right.
And everyone was like, and of course, everyone who follows Hugh Jackman on Twitter and stuff is obviously like, oh my god, Wolverine confirmed, or Wolverine's going to be in the MCU kind of thing. And then he literally just said like, I'm just going on tour, guys, don't worry about it. Just classic fans.
I mean, Hugh Jackman's going to keep up that until Disney just pull a dump truck full of money up to his house. And then he'll be like, Wolverine's in the MCU.
He'll be mid-song and then just like suddenly a truck will just reverse into the theatre he's performing. Walt Disney emerges with a little truck full of cash.
Before I get on to one of my larger stories, as you know I like to do, larger, longer, whatever, I'm going to start with a follow-up to one of our most prominent featured stories from last season, which is loot boxes. So we first talked about them primarily in regards to Star Wars Battlefront 2 and Middle-earth Shadow of War, both released roughly the same time. Obviously the former, very big controversy that we talked about almost every single week last season just because it kept on, just kept on going. Anyway, this week, as reported by the BBC, the UK Gambling Commission have reported a 4 times increase in child gambling in just 2 years, with loot boxes named and shamed by the Commission as being a concern with how they contribute. So whilst the report does say it's not the main contributor, it's still a very disturbing trend. And if you look at the full report, there's kind of statistics about it. It's about 445,000 young people or something like that. I don't have that figure in front of me, but apparently it's been increasing a lot recently. Some of it being due. I will say that it's not purely down to this, but because a lot of the debate last year was on are loot boxes gambling, this following up obviously in Europe the action that's been taken and the legislators in the US and in other parts of the world that were investigating them. I think this is another point for yes, they're gambling, or at the very least they are a gateway to gambling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you want to read the full report, do. I didn't want to say masses about it because we've talked about it to death, but that was just something big that came out this week.
Not good.
No. Anyway, this week's top story in the world of games continues to be Bethesda, and not for the usual reason that they've ported Skyrim to yet another system. No, this is the strange affair that has been the launch and surrounding PR for Fallout 76, the latest entry in the historically RPG franchise, which was intended to be more of a multiplayer survival experience than any of the Fallout games have traditionally been. The game has been met with mixed responses and anger from the fanbase for a number of reasons. So I don't watch his show much, but have you ever heard of Angry Joe?
Yes, rings a bell.
Yeah, so he's a YouTuber who does game reviews. His review of this is scathing. He basically tears it apart, as do other game critics such as Jim Sterling, and I think Yahtzee Croshaw and Zero Punctuation didn't give a very favourable review either.
Really?
Yeah, so the criticisms have been that it uses Fallout 4's engine, but fixes none of the bugs and glitches that were previously known about in that engine.
Right.
The servers are unstable, and autosaving is infrequent, which means that there's lost progress.
Yeah.
Poor to non-existent player versus player mechanics, PvP.
Right.
There are also no NPC human characters, so all the quests and similar are given to you by robots or computers with like AI, and you do the discussions with them.
Right.
The series trademark VAT system, if you've ever heard of it, it's the one where it slows down time and you can pick a body part to target with a percentage of its likely success.
Okay, yeah.
Because that doesn't work in multiplayer because you can't slow down time, it's basically just become a bad auto-target system.
Right.
And to add on to this, a patch was released for the game on day one, which was actually bigger than the game itself.
Really?
Yeah, so this has just been a bit of a nightmare.
Was there no crunch with this game?
Well, the thing is, this seems like a game that could have done with more time.
Yeah.
But it gets better. Not better, I don't know. So, what hasn't helped the fan backlash is the $200 special edition, which was advertised to come with a canvas duffel bag as part of the package. But some fans have actually received a cheaper nylon bag, which obviously has caused complaints because it's a lot cheaper and, it's not as advertised.
Yeah.
What do you think Bethesda have done to, improve the situation for annoyed fans?
Refunded them?
So this was... I actually retweeted this from the Cynical podcast Twitter account this week. But Bethesda have offered 500 of the in-game currency, atoms, for people who provide proof of purchase. What can you buy with 500 atoms?
I've got very little experience with Fallout. A gun, I don't know.
So, tweeted by @MittenSquad, so I'm not sure if this is true, but I haven't seen it seriously debunked anywhere. You can buy a door for 300 and some succulents, i.e. plants, for 200.
Amazing.
These would be used to decorate your settlement you build in-game.
Mm-hmm.
For the record, 500 atoms is roughly worth $5. So, compared that to the $200 they've paid for the special edition.
Yeah. That's pretty shitty, really, isn't it?
And it gets even better.
Go on.
So, GameRant have reported this week that canvas bags were provided free to people seen as, in quotes, Fallout influencers at a promo event. So, content creators, bloggers. So they got the canvas bags.
But the people who paid
the $200 haven't.
Brilliant.
So I should point out, obviously, that this isn't the fault of the content creators or whoever went to this event, because they weren't to know what was going on.
No, of course.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
just one of those things where you're like, okay, that's pretty shitty. Then you're like, oh, okay, that's even worse. So yeah.
So, what the actual game itself for people? Is it quite good? Is it a good story? Is it a good
Well, the thing
environment?
is, because it's multiplayer focused, the story's a bit of a...
nowhere.
And also because there's no NPCs,
yeah,
you're just basically like, the mayor of a town is just a computer. And you and it seems like a bit of an arbitrary choice, because with these computers and robots and stuff, it's still AI, so there's still like the dialogue trees and the discussions and things. But as a result, I think you only have like 20 people on a map at any one time, so actually interacting with other people is pretty rare.
Plus, if you're making a game that is... This is part of the problem with Battlefront. It kind of persevered a bit because like the later reviews and stuff were good for Battlefront 2, but like if you're making a game that you're designing to be primarily used multiplayer online, you want to make sure those first reviews are good. Because if you've got like... You can't rely on like the good story or anything like that. Battlefront had a story that you could play if you weren't just playing it online. But if you want to get, because obviously if people are reading these reviews and they're going, I'm not that fast, then the multiplayer experience is going to become pretty crap anyway, because not a lot of people are going to bother.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like like Bethesda are known for releasing slightly buggy games, but it's just this is on like a whole nother level, and it's just yeah. So, yeah, the backlash has actually been so bad that people are talking about reporting the game as false advertising to the authorities. So, whilst there in theory could be a case, and people are welcome to try, I feel like I should mention here the two situations where this has happened previously. First off is the rather infamously the Gearbox developed game, and the game that we played for the Cynical Optimists Let's Play series last year, Aliens Colonial Marines, which gave misleading demos to the press and then promised more than it could deliver.
That game was fucking terrible.
Exactly. And that's the thing, that game is now infamously bad.
We played in the most recent update of that game as well.
I don't know, there was somebody after the first episode who sent us a link to a patch that apparently
was there?
That apparently made it better, and we did talk about it, and we're like, no, we'll play it as released.
Did that patch make it so that the boss battles actually went the way they were designed to go?
Well, apparently it improved the alien AI, but it probably wouldn't have helped that boss battle where we were just running away and getting it stuck on scenery. Funnily enough, that was one of the things that's been a criticism of the Fallout game, is that the AI pathfinding is bad. So a lot of the big monsters, you can get them stuck on cars and things and just shoot them.
Yeah. Do you think, obviously developers, they finish a game, or they aim for a target to finish the game, and do you think part of the reason crunch has existed are to iron out these kind of things, but do you think that the overall sort of shareholders and stuff are giving too much pressure on these games to get them out on time kind of thing?
I think with certain companies, it is all about the shareholders.
Okay, but
because you could see that with EA, with them, when everything was going well, they were promising record profits to their shareholders, but then when they had to take the loot boxes out of Battlefront 2, they went to their shareholders saying that it wouldn't affect the bottom line. So then,
because Disney stepped in as well for that one, didn't they? Yeah,
so that's probably, to be honest, it's probably become more of a PR nightmare than it was worth, that one.
Yeah.
Although, a lot of it is...
Well, because that's the thing. Red Dead received practically perfect criticism, perfect reviews and stuff when it came out, didn't it?
Yeah, a lot of good reviews.
But that's because they overworked their staff in the final.
Yeah, so it's kind of the balance between...
Yeah.
Because I don't...
Getting the game out ready and also making sure you can get it out at the right time kind of thing.
Because I'm also the kind... Well, the thing is, the reality of it is actually after a certain point you're not doing very good work after certain numbers of hours of working. So
do you think the producers and the shareholders, this sort of stuff comes back to them and they say, look, we need a bit more time to get these games out because look at the reviews and stuff if it's not ready?
It depends on who ends up taking the fall for a bad game. Because if they say, if they find some way to be the director obviously did it wrong, then possibly they'd be able to actually we can do it in that time scale, but it was his problem. It's very complicated. I'm not actually sure what's going to be the fallout of all of this. It's a fitting word, to be honest. Yeah. But let me so to compare it to another game that has done this.
This is a real 76 situation, am I right?
That was terrible.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, my joke to round it all up is that bad, but I'm at least saving it to the end so we can quickly move on to the next story. But yeah, so another game that did this, and this is another one you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Is No Man's Sky.
Ah, yeah.
So that's where developer Sean Murray famously went on talk shows and gave interviews and promised all kinds of features that weren't present in the game at release, such as multiplayer. Although, in defense of No Man's Sky, that has been getting updates and free DLC and actually looks pretty good now.
Yeah.
What, this 2018?
But then again, that's too little too late, isn't it? Because it's going for going for rock bottom prices. And ultimately, it's just. But does this sort of stuff not end up back in the circulation of shareholders? That's like, surely they could make more money if they get a good game out from the start.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If you consistently go for quality over and say, okay, it might take a bit more time, then you are going to get more money. But
I don't know, because I don't know how.
This whole games as a service thing has changed things, though, because obviously a multiplayer online game, the intention is that people play it for longer, and actually the microtransactions make more money than the game.
Okay, yeah.
Because Activision Blizzard, who do Overwatch, they make them Overwatch makes absolute bank off microtransactions, far more than people buying the base game. And it's this idea of like getting them up so that they can be played for longer, but still, you still need to have a good base game, because otherwise people won't adopt it.
Well, that's the thing, is that you're relying on, you're just kind of laying the foundations, and you're letting the consumers basically do the work, because you're like, okay, well this person's is this good at the game, I need to spend money and get this gun, and then it's kind of, they just keep playing it because they're going against each other all the time. But you need good foundations in order to sustain that.
And that's the thing, sometimes it's not even like they have the better gun, I need to pay a bit of money to get it. Sometimes it's they have a cool costume, therefore I'm going to pay for some loot boxes and hope that I get it too. Yeah. And that's the thing, you're not even guaranteed to get it.
Yeah.
Which is part of the whole problem with loot boxes and why it's seen as gambling, because you're putting in money for a random chance of getting what you want. And, but anyway,
it's a complicated industry, isn't it?
It is.
It's almost like we don't really know that much on the surface.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Sometimes it's years later you get the full story, isn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Fallout 76, and something that I didn't realise until I actually watched Angry Joe's review on it. But Todd Howard, who's head of Bethesda, actually had been going around going full Sean Murray No Man's Sky with his promises. Including standing on stage and saying, all of this just works, when talking about Fallout 76's like engine and servers, and he was like dedicated servers and all this. And that leads us back to why there's a law firm that is now inviting people to give testimony as part of an investigation about false advertising.
Yeah.
However, to go back to the two games I've given as examples, for No Man's Sky, there was an attempt for a false advertising lawsuit, but this was actually dismissed by a court in 2016, and nothing came of it. However, Sega, who are the publisher of Aliens Colonial Marines, ended up paying out a $1.25 million $1.25 million settlement, in a case about Aliens Colonial Marines. And so, if people want to try the lawsuit, they can try, but there's a chance they'll get nothing, and and it depends what you really want to be the action going forward. If you just it's kind of like the crunch thing again, and actually not giving up on the social media push and the actual pressure is probably a lot better in the long run than just suing them for a bit of money.
Yeah. Can we get some money back? We wasted a lot of hours on Colonial Marines.
That's true. Can we get some of that $1.25 million? So, yeah, Fallout 76 is a game so disappointing that I'm putting it down as a nominee for most disappointing game of 2018. And I haven't even played it. I'm just disappointed having to read about it. Because this is just... The whole thing just screams amateur.
Yeah.
Like, this is such an amateur thing to do for such a big name, established studio.
Yeah.
And with a developer that had such goodwill, even a few months ago, I'm pretty sure it was the E3 just gone, that Bethesda came out of their joke trailer for Bethesda on the fridge. It was Bethesda... Skyrim ported onto a fridge, display.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Just because of the big joke about it, and, they're sharing in the joke, and...
Yeah.
And they had such good PR, and this just seems like such a... It just seems like amateur.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you can't the good social media and good marketing can't do everything to cover up shit, basically. You can't polish a turd.
But you can roll it in sparkles. So this is the nuclear disaster that is Bethesda's new game, and the fallout that's come since its release. Someone should have pointed out to them that typically when something gets killed, the term is 86th, not 76th. Those were my top tier puns to go along with this story. Anyway, Nintendo have announced recently that they are ending their YouTube Creators program, and they have changed their policy to make it easier for YouTubers to create Let's Plays of their games and monetize it. So in case anyone listening isn't aware, the Nintendo Creators program came after a period of Nintendo just straight up copyright claiming Let's Plays, and allowed creators to make Nintendo content if they applied through the program. The caveat being that content creators would need to give over as much as 40% of a video's revenue to Nintendo. That, however, is now over and brings Nintendo more in line with the more lenient developers in their stance to Let's Play content, which is that for a good game, it's free advertising. I won't go on to praise them too much for this move, because it's something that really shouldn't have happened in the first place.
No. I mean, yeah. Does that mean even if we were to do a old Nintendo game for a Let's Play, it would have been copyright struck or whatever?
When I did a Let's Play of Twilight Princess for a channel back in 2016, any episode that had a bit of a cinematic, because we were using the version we were using was the GameCube version, so it's in 4:3, so we put a border on the sides, and that got rid of a lot of claims, but every time there was a cutscene, we got a copyright claim by Nintendo, and they just, even though we weren't monetizing it, they put ads on it.
That's ridiculous.
And that's something I don't disagree with if somebody's trying to monetize copyrighted content, you being lenient and saying, actually, we're gonna take some of this ad money, in a sense. Yeah. But if the person who's uploaded it isn't even monetizing it themselves, putting ads on so you can monetize it seems just a bit...
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, because it goes back to free use and what's considered transformative content and things like that. So, one of the actual things that's come from this is that one of the necessities for your video to be kind of, I guess, considered fine under this new ruling is that there must be something transformative to it. So commentary, some original content. The point is
splicing pictures of other characters over the top of the characters that look like different characters.
Sure. Basically, what you can't do.
Trick for you guys
is just upload gameplay with no commentary.
Right.
Which I think is fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we've looked up how to complete certain levels on games we've played before, and they've just been playing through. Well, and you've seen cinematic stuff from video games as well when you haven't been able to play the game, haven't you?
Yeah. So, like I say, some developers have different views on it. I'm quite happy to sit and watch a Let's Play. What is kind of annoying though is when you're just looking to get past one bit and all you can find are Let's Plays. It's I don't want to listen to your commentary.
Just show me how to do it.
Show me how to do it. Just rich coming from two people that do Let's Plays, but to be honest, you wouldn't watch hours to see how to perfectly do it.
No, definitely not. No. The opposite of, actually.
Yeah. So
we get stuck on Lego games. That's the context we're talking here.
I had to speed up this week's episode, the one that came out last Friday, quite a bit because of how stuck we got. But to be fair, that room was obtuse, to put it lightly.
You can see our Let's Play on the channel. It goes up every Friday.
Yeah, the Haddo Inc. YouTube channel. It goes up every Friday.
We're doing Lego Harry Potter years 1 to wherever we get to.
Yep. So, now last week the story was Nintendo winning in court regarding ROM distribution.
I remember.
But since we're talking about Nintendo again, there is another lawsuit which I can see them filing very, very quickly. And this one's a bit more justified. Did you hear about this?
No.
This is news of the completely unlicensed Mushroom Racing Go-Kart tournament that has been announced in the USA.
That doesn't sound like anything I know.
Yeah, it doesn't look Mario-ish in any way, or an attempt to cash in on the Mario Kart brand. So you can look it up online if you want more details, but basically there's regional races, and the winner of each of those will be invited to the final in Las Vegas, which is where all the good final yeah, this is an actual thing.
What's it called?
The Mushroom Racing Go-Kart Tournament.
Racing Go-Kart.
I mean, I can send
Are you sure they're not just on magic mushrooms while they're racing?
No, you can.
Sounds like it.
You can tell from the logo straight up, and it even uses
good God, yeah, that definitely is, isn't it?
So yeah, this is
Have you? I was reading the tagline. Have you ever wanted to race against your favourite characters while collecting stars to win amazing prizes? Go-karting with a twist will be headed to a city near you soon.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. However, according to Gamnesia, who put this up as a news story, this isn't actually the first time something like this has happened. A similar situation occurred in Japan, and Nintendo did take legal action on it. The case in question resulting in a 10 million yen, or around $88,000, payout to Nintendo from the infringers. Wow. So there is definitely signs that if Nintendo take these guys to court, they're gonna win, I think.
But like, I mean, it actually does sound. It sounds quite fun.
It does sound fun. That's the thing.
There's some good like TripAdvisor stuff on here from people. It's a shame. Oh, and at the bottom it says we are not associated with Nintendo or Mario Kart. Yeah. Despite the fact that all the costumes that they rent out are Mario or Luigi.
Yep.
Donkey Kong. This is that's a bit cheeky, isn't it?
Yeah. So that is amazing, but I don't think we'll be seeing it for very long. And when the nice, either a cease and desist or a nice, lovely lawsuit comes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a bit ridiculous.
So, Nintendo have ended their creator program, making it easier for content creators to make Nintendo Let's Plays. I have no joke here, just an excuse to push for a Nintendo game for the next Sin-Up series after we finish Harry Potter. And I will be doing that. That's not even a joke.
What's the next series then?
Oh, you want me to think of one now?
Yeah, we're going to go mushroom racing. That's the next Sin-Up Let's Play.
Sin-Up Let's Play, mushroom racing. Which one do you want to do? We could do mushroom racing Wii. Oh, sorry. Mushroom racing Woo. There's also Mushroom Racing 65, which I grew up with.
I was thinking we'd actually go and do it if it's still around by the time we get round to it.
Well, the thing is, the court case with the Japanese, what happened in Japan, took a year and a half. So I reckon we've got time.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, end up in the finals in Las Vegas.
I want to dress up as Barrio if we do go.
I'll be Fruigi. So, did you see the game? This is obviously moving us nicely along. Did you see the results of the Golden Joystick Awards?
I did not, no.
So this is a UK gaming award show. So the UK actually has a few, because I know the BAFTA do a game awards as well.
Yes, they
and
do.
Then in America, we were talking last episode about the Game Awards, which is getting had its nominees released. But yeah, the Golden Joystick Awards. Interesting, because I don't know when the nominees for this came out. Because an absentee on here is actually Spider-Man.
Oh no!
It does.
My boy.
Because the thing is, this news story I found was just the winners. But God of War swept up a lot of awards. As did, you've got things like Fortnite and PUBG both won awards.
Sounds about right.
Skyrim VR won Best VR Game.
Right.
I mean, we're still at that. I was going to say, still at that early stage where that probably isn't a very high bar.
I reckon if we did a Synopt VR game, we'd probably get into the nominees at least.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what the content would be. Would we just be sat... Oh my god, it's like I'm sat at a computer screen reading notes off my computer. It's like I'm really recording a podcast. But the ultimate game of the year, do you want to give a go?
I would put Spider-Man in the nominees, but is this for the winner?
Yeah.
Redemption. Red Dead?
No, Red Dead Redemption got Critics' Choice Award.
Okay.
But Ultimate Game of the Year, emphasise Ultimate here, went to Fortnite Battle Royale.
Right. Was that a DLC?
No, just that's Fortnite's full name.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, alright.
I think one of the big things that's been pointed out here, which I do just need to check, is I don't think Fortnite came out in 2017.
Huh.
So technically, depending on when they have the cut off and the opening point, technically it shouldn't have even been eligible to win, but I think possibly it's just...
I was going to say, I thought that had been out a while, hence why I thought that was a DLC maybe.
Yeah, so... But then
good on them.
Yeah, good on them.
People seem to like it.
People enjoy it. It's the trend at the moment, so I'm not going to mock it. Seems like a good general overview of winners. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how gaming awards work, if this is considered one of the ones on the way to the Game Awards, like, you know, they have the road to the Oscars.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought I'd go over the winners.
Nice. Well done, Fortnite. I'm sure it'll get a mention on the Synopt Awards at some point, even though neither of us have played it.
It will win Game of the Year for sure.
Probably.
So now we're on to just the headlines, the stories that I thought were interesting to mention, but not interesting enough to write anything about. Mm-hmm. So first is that Pokemon Let's Go has broken Switch records for game sales. Mm-hmm. So it sold 3 million copies in 3 days.
That's pretty good.
And I thought that was an important one to mention, just because it may lose this title by next Friday when Smash comes out.
Oh, right, yeah.
So
next week, isn't it?
Enjoy it now, Pokemon. I don't know whether Smash will release more, but I know that...
Actually, I don't think
it's
it
not
will.
Not a story I've got to hand, but I know that like the Switch has had like its highest selling quarter, like few weeks because of Pokemon and Smash.
And Black Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon Pokemon might hold that off, because it's a completely new kind of format for Pokemon, isn't it? Especially playing it on a home console, whereas I think people are a bit more used to Smash.
Yeah, but although I don't know, it's difficult to say. I don't think we'll know until it comes out, but I think there's a good chance, because Smash does have just a massive audience.
Yeah, see how it goes.
So next we have that Civilization 6's new expansion is called Gathering Storm, and the reason I highlighted this is because it will have the effects of climate change in the game.
Ooh.
So the Civilization is kind of a turn-based strategy game where you build cities, and it's politics, and it's sometimes battles, and it goes on for... It takes place across, like, I guess, a realistic times frame, because you start in like the ancient times and go through to modern day, and there's various wind conditions.
Yeah.
And climate change will be something that comes in this new expansion, as well as kind of volcanoes, blizzards, floods, and droughts. But I think if done well, that could be very impactful and very valuable, because obviously, once you get past a certain point, your Civ game is taking place in the future.
Yeah.
And showing that, obviously, if all the players are doing a lot of, like, bad for the environment things, having actual... I don't know how it would affect the game, but showing, like, worse weather or sea level rise would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, pretty good. Fake news, though.
Oh, yeah, it totally doesn't exist. Oh dear. We're not getting into that. Batman Arkham Collection has been quietly released onto the Xbox One store.
Not PS4.
So the thing is, when I was looking up about this, I'm pretty sure both the Xbox One and the PS4 got the Arkham Collection already, which was Asylum and City, ahead of the release of Arkham Knight.
Is this all 4 of them?
No.
Oh, really?
Arkham Origins once again has been snubbed.
Oh no!
As being not a real Batman game, because the Arkham Collection is only the free games developed by Rocksteady.
That's odd. It's still a pretty good game.
And the thing is, as well, is that this, like, unless I came across this story, I wouldn't have known. Unless I was actually looking at the news every day. It's just kind of... There's been no press for it. It's just kind of appeared.
Okay.
So it seems a bit weird. I mean, what, 50 quid for all 3 games? To be honest, even now, that's a lot.
That is quite a lot, actually, when you think about it. Yeah, because Arkham Knight you could probably pick up for like 15 quid now. Even the most recent one. Yeah.
If you're PC game, well, to be honest, the Arkham games, well, Arkham Origins and Arkham Knight are definitely worse on PC.
Right.
Because of the ports. But on PC, wait for a sale and you could get all of them for maybe a tenner.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those things that I thought was worth mentioning because obviously you were a big fan of the games, and also interesting.
You know what? I never actually
quiet.
played. I never played Knight in the end. So if this was quite a bit cheaper, I'd be tempted to get all of these. Because I'd quite like the updated graphics of the other 2, ignoring Origins.
Depends how much they actually did to update the graphics, though. Really, because it could just be a straight port.
But yeah, 50 quid's a lot of money.
Well, the thing
you
is,
get a brand new game for that.
Well, that's the thing. I'm saying that based off the fact that it's been spotted for $60 on the Xbox Store, and that roughly translates to about 50 quid.
Oof.
So it's a full price release as well, which seems unnecessary.
Bizarre.
Yeah. So anyone out there really, really wanting to play Batman?
Spend money.
Spare money to burn. Go nuts.
Nice.
The PlayStation Classic has released.
Yeah.
And it's getting lackluster reviews.
Yeah, I did see a bit of this. Very limited game choice, wasn't it, in the end?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we dedicated a bit of our discussion in one of the other episodes to talking about the games that were going to be on it and the fact that the different regions had different games. But it seems like people are being critical of the fact that, you know, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Crash Bandicoot, and Spyro the Dragon, which I consider some of the classics, even though they have had recent remasters. Well, Symphony of the Night hasn't, but it didn't feel like it was putting its best and brightest forward. Part of the criticism was due to the fact that 9 of the games on the PlayStation Classic were the old PAL versions of the ROMs. Now, one of the big difference between PAL and NTRC and STC, you know, the other region.
Yeah, NTSC,
back in the day, was that NTSC was 60 hertz and it was only 50 hertz for PAL, which, to put that in other words, it's put up, the Classic has 9 versions of games with only 50 frames per second.
Right, okay, yeah.
And they're kind of considered to be like lesser versions. So that like got some criticism as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I think people are saying that a lot of the games you can get on one of the various... You can get through other means for cheaper. So some people are saying that $100 is too much.
Yeah, that is quite a lot.
And yeah, it's just... People are saying it's not got the best games on it. You can get some of the games elsewhere for cheaper and probably plays better. There's been there's been criticisms about untight controls and things like that. It's just not been great. It's almost as if they saw how well the NES and SNES sold and were like, "Oh, quick money," and then it didn't work.
Very quick money. Yeah, just cobble that together. I mean, they probably still will make quite a lot of money on this.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there'll still be people who buy it. It's also unfortunate that, unlike the NES and SNES games, which actually, due to their graphical style, have mostly aged pretty okay. Yeah. Because obviously it's all 2D sprites. Early 3D graphics, however, look pretty bad when blown up to HD.
Well, it's because they haven't got that kind of cute 8-bit appeal either, have they?
Yeah, so
They're just pretty awful. But it's the hipster cafes, Phil. They're all going to have them.
they are. They're going to buy them up and then be trying to scalp them on eBay. They just might not have as much success with this because of the lackluster reviews. People might not be willing to spend like £300. And finally, to wrap up the gaming news, this is kind of in the weird product news line, but it's not a weird product. It's just an interesting story about a pre-existing product. Mm-hmm. But there is a countrywide shortage of the Piranha Plant amiibo in Japan. Following his announcement as a pre-order bonus for the new Smash Bros.
Right.
And I just thought that was hilarious.
That was pretty good, yeah.
So the thing is, this is his... Because there's different series of amiibo. This is the Super Mario series. I don't know what games it interacts with other than Smash. I think it's probably Mario Party or something like that.
Yeah.
So Piranha Plant is getting an official Smash Bros. Amiibo at some point. But yeah, they just...
I love the fact that he's now a playable character. That's made my year.
New main. Just my new main for the game.
And on to our discussion. Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Electric Boogaloo has just been released this week. That's the full title.
Nice.
We saw it over the weekend.
Yeah, well...
What do you think?
Actually, I should point out that back in July, Disney dropped the Wreck-It Ralph 2 part of its name. So now it's just called Ralph Breaks the Internet,
yeah.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. What did you think?
So, as always, we'll do non-spoilers for a bit, and then at some point we'll tell people who've not seen it.
Is there much to spoil here?
No, actually not really.
No. Oh, okay. We'll still do it anyway. We'll do a few minutes of non-spoilers and then...
We'll just leave off talking about the details of the story, I guess.
Yeah. I would avoid maybe maybe avoid watching all the trailers because there's a lot of that film in those trailers.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to go in clean, we'll do a clean break for like 5 minutes and then we'll go into spoilers. What did you think?
I liked it.
I really liked it.
I didn't think it was as good as the first one, but it'd been very difficult to be. The first one is possibly one of my favourite films.
You know what? I'm the other end. I thought it was better than the first one.
Yeah, I mean, we can go into this when we are actually talking spoilers, but I thought the third act was kind of abrupt.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I feel like there was less of the boring stuff from the first one in this one, maybe, for me.
What would you consider the boring stuff from the first one?
So mostly Fix It Felix.
Oh, did you just not like his B story?
Not really. Because it's not really a spoiler to say he doesn't get a lot of screen time in this one.
Yeah, no. Fix It Felix Jr. and Sergeant Calhoun, so that's played by Jack McBrayer and Jane Lynch, are literally in about 2 scenes. And the thing is, I like both their characters, but at the same time, I don't see how they could have had a bigger role
in this one.
No, yeah. I liked how this was a more personal story between Ralph and Vanellope.
Mm-hmm. And I also liked how this one, the sad beats were a bit less often.
Yeah, although the sad beats kind of hit you a few times in a row.
In this one?
Yeah, when they do come.
Think? Okay, see, I thought the first one was kind of a bit more just constant, kind of the sad beats were in the wrong place. I feel like this one's a bit more kind of traditional story in that, like, there's a sad beat at the beginning to establish the disequilibrium and then a sad beat at the end-ish kind of place, you know? There's just like, I don't know, I feel like they're in kind of the better place. I feel like this is maybe a better story structure than the first one.
I can see where that comes from, although...
You know what, I don't remember the first one that much.
See, I still think the first one had a better overall story because It was very much about video game characters. It was very, to be honest, it was a more simple story. It was
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
video game bad guy doesn't want to be bad guy anymore, so and then the inciting incident is he just wants to be acknowledged, and then he ends up in a hole causing a lot of trouble that he has to fix.
Yeah.
Whereas this one had its inciting incident that kind of caused everything is a bit more contrived, like not contrived, but it kind of happens so that the story can happen.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. That I feel like the first one. I mean, I don't remember the first one that vividly, but I do remember it. Just kind of the sad notes came a bit very frequently. It was just like, oh no, Frank broke her car, and oh no, she needs to die because she's a virus, and oh no, we're gonna do this, and it's just like, come on, have some fun. This one had a lot of fun in it.
And I think the first one still is a lot of fun. I think you need to go watch it again.
Yeah, probably.
I'll say that the main cast are all on top form. Like John C. Reilly as Wreck-It Ralph, Sarah Silverman as Vanellope.
Yeah, I liked Vanellope a lot more in this film, actually.
Yes. She felt a lot more fleshed out.
Yeah.
And the introduction of Gal Gadot as Shanks.
Oh, that was Gal Gadot!
Yeah. I didn't realise until I looked up later, and I was like, obviously.
Of course. Yeah, that she was a great role.
Yeah, no, I think, again, the imagery, like, the thing I would say about the animated sequels this year, comparing it to Incredibles 2, very good use of their shots and their design and the setting of the scenes.
Yeah.
They're just very visually nice films to watch.
Definitely. I thought this was, I thought some of the worlds visited in this film, like, impressed me a lot more, I think, than the first one.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They spend the majority of the first one in
and the gags
Sugar
were
Rush.
funnier. I thought the gags were funnier.
I don't know. That the Oreo gag from the first one still gets me every time.
I think I need to rewatch the first one. What's the Oreo gag?
It's when they're outside King Candy's castle and they're going, Oreo, Oreo, as they're doing like the march from the Wizard of Oz. From the Wizard of Oz.
It's not bad, but
no,
I don't know.
Or was it Alice in Wonderland? I think it might be Alice in Wonderland, actually.
I'm not sure. I think this one's a little bit more slapstick, but I loved it.
Yeah.
And I thought the side characters were a bit like, I remember some of the weird side characters in the first one, like that weird, was it a turtle or a frog? I can't remember. It was a frog, wasn't it?
A frog?
Yeah. There was like a sidekick frog or something from the first one. The green, the green guy.
The sour ball.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was a frog. Okay, yeah.
I think in the second film they refer to him as a frog, don't they?
Oh, okay, right, yeah, that might be where I got confused. But in the second one, there's a lot of like weird minor characters. It's called Wreck-It Ralph, or Ralph Breaks the Internet, so you know it's set in the internet. You get like hints towards like viruses and dark web and stuff like that, and there's some like really ugly characters that come from that, but are also hilarious.
Yeah, and the film doesn't waste any time with getting to the actual internet stuff.
No, it's pretty.
It's about 5 minutes set in the arcade, if that.
Yeah.
And then you're into the main plot, which is they're in the internet and they go to different sites.
Yeah, and like there's always this fine line of like, is this going to be kind of cringy? Like, are they just going to make references, and are they just, is this going to be a lot of product placement and this kind of stuff? And there was a lot of product placement, yes. But I feel like the references and the kind of the relevance of the script wasn't like a 40-year-old man had written it knowing nothing about the internet kind of thing. I feel like it was quite well.
Yeah, no, it's very well written.
Yeah.
Part of me worries whether how relevant it will be in, say, 10 years' time.
Oh, yeah. No, probably not.
Like, whereas the first story, as much as obviously arcades might eventually disappear, there'll still be, I guess, some common... That's going to be a lot easier to explain to someone, like what an arcade... Whereas all of these background names of companies, which we don't know if they'll be there or not, might be a bit more lost on people. It's kind of the Deadpool problem of making good references, but at the cost of being a bit dated a few years down the line.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, to be fair, like they make references to like websites no longer existing because they're down below. So you've got like the main internet, and then down below that you've kind of got like, old web pages, and you can see a few logos of like websites that you remember from as a child and stuff like that. And that stuff I think kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and actually,
I think the way they visualize the internet's really, really good looking.
Yeah, no, what it reminds me of is you didn't watch much Futurama, did you?
Not really, no.
In the Futurama episode, they go into the internet, like, because it's the 31st century. Mm-hmm. They all put on VR, like, suits, and they actually go into the internet, and it's very similar to that in a way.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's very much tall towers with logos on.
Okay.
So part of me, and actually, I'll take this opportunity to say that may not be a complete coincidence because the director Rich Moore, this is only his third feature-length film after Zootopia and the first Wreck-It Ralph. In the late 90s to early 2000s, he directed a number of Simpsons and Futurama episodes.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are certain bits I was like, ooh. Like, when I read that, I was like, I'm not surprised because of the way some of the jokes were framed and some of the other... So...
I thought, yeah. But, like, generally, it's a very good-looking, like, representation of, like, the internet, and I think the visuals are all great in this film.
Yeah. And talking about the kind of references, I guess, apart from... they spend a little bit of time at eBay. But apart from that, kind of the two main locales in the internet they spend time in, which is one is a game and the other is a video sharing website, are both original to the film.
Yeah.
Which I think is very, again, done on purpose. It's the same reason why the first film was based in Wreck-It Ralph and Sugar Rush, because if you base it in an existing game, then it kind of creates this weird legacy thing. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because Fix It Felix is essentially a parody of Mario anyway, isn't it?
Yes.
So,
well, that kind of early arcade game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's basically Mario and Donkey Kong, in the original Donkey Kong, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, it's. I mean, to be fair, that kind of gives a bit of rest to this worry about product placement and stuff, but there is still quite a lot of that.
Yeah, no, I very much like the like how they did Twitter though.
Oh yeah, that was cute. Yeah. So other things I'd probably compare this to. It's got a little bit of Ready Player One vibes about it.
I've heard other people say that, yeah.
Which I didn't mind. I actually quite enjoyed that film. But yeah, it's. I think I'm slightly more positive on it than you are. I'd probably go for about a...
Oh, don't get me wrong. I thought it was really, really good.
I'm going to aim for a 7 out of 10.
See, this is going to shock you, but I was going to rate it higher than that.
Oh, really?
However, I rate the first film, like I say, potentially one of my favourite films of all time, at probably about a 9 or a 9.5.
Righto.
So saying that Ralph Breaks the Internet is not as good as Wreck-It Ralph is not saying I did not like it. It's just saying it had to reach a very high standard.
Yeah.
The same way that I'd say Incredibles 2 probably isn't as good as Incredibles 1.
No.
That's because Incredibles 1 was just amazing.
Set the standard, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fair to say, yeah.
So I'd definitely give it higher than a 7.
Okay.
I'd probably still give it at least a 7.5, if not an 8.
Okay.
Still like a big fan of the characters. I think the character moments really hit.
Yeah.
I think the voice cast are all on point. I think the background jokes are great.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you say, like the wacky side characters are quite fun, and the visualization of the internet is very good.
Yeah.
So yeah, no complaints from me. It's just not quite as good as the first one in my eyes.
I would say, if you really love the first one as much as Phil, it might not be as good. But if you were looking for a bit more, I'd say it's got more jokes, right? More like blatant jokes.
Well, the thing is, in a sequel, you have the benefit of not having to set up the characters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you can spend more time on just the straight kind of comedy of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. So, if you're like me, then it's better than the first, and if you're like Phil, it's not as good as the first. That's
regardless,
the essence of our review.
Still good.
Still very good. Let's do spoilers.
Let's start getting into the story and the spoilers.
what can we spoil? I thought we did pretty well there with non-spoilers.
Yeah.
So the essence of the plot is Vanellope's game is going to be shut down because someone broke apart because Ralph helped design a new track because Vanellope was getting a bit bored. And there's this overall theme of like Vanellope kind of wanting to kind of stretch herself out a bit. And I thought that was very resonant, actually. I thought that was very, like, a very real kind of emotional beat for the film, and a theme that carried on through is that Vanellope, like Ralph wants to do as much as he can to try and keep her at home in the arcade, and then Vanellope wants to kind of get out there a bit, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of like the themes from like Toy Story 3 and stuff, like going out to university and getting out into the world kind of thing.
Yeah, I think even though obviously it was, you know, video game characters in an arcade, the whole idea of Ralph having been there for 30 years and he's actually quite used to it and he doesn't actually really want to change that much.
Mm-hmm.
But Vanellope being younger and like having more ambition and just wanting something different.
Yeah, and it's like it's I felt very real emotions like watching it, because there are situations where you're kind of you're like, well, I'm happy, so can't you stay here and be happy with me because I'm content and stuff, and you don't need to be ambitious kind of thing. And
the whole thing of why do you need to go elsewhere? Like, am I not good enough for you to stay here with me? Yeah,
exactly. And I felt that I think it suited like both those roles for both characters very well as well.
Yeah, because the whole premise in the first one is that Ralph has never had a friend, really.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't take too much of a stretch of the imagination to think once he got a friend, he might have a bit of an unhealthy codependency.
Yeah. This felt like a very natural sequel, actually, didn't it?
Yeah. Like, I was worried going into it.
Yeah. I was like, especially with, like, just jumping on the internet craze and memes and stuff, I was like, is this going to be a bit of a cringe fest for the sake of it? But, like, it felt like a very natural sequel, and I can't say that about a lot of things, really.
Yeah. And kind of, in a way, it was kind of Ralph's naivety about the wider world comes into play.
Yeah.
Because obviously, part of the plot is that they need to raise money. That eBay scene was class, though. They just thought it was about choosing
saying a higher number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him just trying to make viral videos, just obviously just to help her, and then he reads the comments, and obviously that's quite an emotional beat in it.
Yeah, and it feels pretty real as well. I think it was like pretty grounded in like what the internet is actually kind of like, and it's not. You know, I was genuinely quite worried about how they were going to sort of convey the internet, but it's got a bit of everything in there. You got a bit of viruses, you got a bit of dark web, you got a bit of memes, you got a bit of virality. It's kind of it's a lot smarter than you'd actually expect from this kind of film.
Yeah, this film could have done a lot less and probably called it a day.
Yeah.
But the fact that it went a bit further and actually was not only accurate but very apt in some ways, and yeah, it's just very impressive how it was all handled very well.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, and pop-up. We got
the pop-ups.
The pop-ups and the extended sequence about like pop-ups and stuff I thought was pretty good as well. So an advert pops up at some point because they need to make money for the game, and they were like, oh, the only thing we're good at is playing video games. How are we going to make money from doing that? And they go back to a pop-up they saw earlier, and it's just like, get rich playing video games, which is exactly the sort of thing you do see on websites.
Yeah, like housewives in your area want to meet you, really?
Yeah, and you get transported, and it's like it's lower down below all the rest of the pages, and like there's just viruses like wandering around.
Yeah, it's like a shady, like built office block.
Yeah,
and it's kind of the interesting like visual comparisons to what the real life equivalent is.
Yeah, and there's this little character called Gord, who I think might be my favourite character. He's this little like guy in a turtleneck that you can only see his eyes, and he's just got this arm that extends, and he's just popping up when he's like not expected, and I just really liked all those bits.
Yeah, no, I think the film's very good with like its tone and its humour.
Yeah.
Although near the, like I say, I think when I said the third act is a bit abrupt, I think it's because you start to get near the end, you start to get a feeling of where the film's going.
Uh-huh. And then there's another big action sequence.
Yeah, and then you're still like, well, this film is called Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah.
And he hasn't broken the internet yet, and we get him. He's got the money now to get the piece.
Yeah.
So I guess something has to happen. Like the whole.
Well, I mean, like Ralph's arc wasn't fully tied up by this point, was it? Because he was still just as ignorant and just as.
Well, in his mind, they were done, kind of thing. It was like, oh, we'll just go there for a few hours.
Yeah.
Just do this, get the thing, and then everything will go back to normal.
Yeah. I mean, actually, one thing that did bug me is because, again, there was a lack of conversation when they were wrapped up. Why did Vanellope not? Because it takes seconds to get from one place to the other in this place. Vanellope could have had a talk with Ralph before going back to what was the game called?
Slaughter Race.
Slaughter Race, yeah. There could have been like a quick 5-minute catch up between them before she went back to Slaughter Race.
Yeah, it's one of those things, but I think it's quite well explored that she just was worried about his reaction to it.
Yeah.
So obviously that was her like growth, and that, you know, she didn't talk to him honestly, and obviously his was getting over his codependence issues.
Yeah.
And the thing is, whilst I thought that was quite interesting, it was kind of like, okay, third act, giant kaiju monster to fight.
I mean, quite an interesting design.
Yeah, it looked kind of creepy.
It did look very creepy, especially as Ralph looked kind of skin tone as well. Ralph's uniform, it looked very skinned. It looked like a lot of naked Ralphs, which was quite a very creepy image.
But I guess visually it gets to quite a good bit at the end when obviously it shows that Ralph's dealt with his insecurity because the monster that was created from his insecurity disappears.
Yeah.
And like he breaks the internet, but only for about 15 minutes really at the end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the title of that, like it refers to like the virality aspect of it as well.
Yeah. Because obviously, like he becomes just super viral by doing literally every single type of viral video.
That's the thing. That sequence there might be the bit that goes out of date quickest, actually, in that they're doing like reaction videos and things like that. I feel like in a few years' time.
Yeah, you don't know what the big things are going to be.
You don't know what the big things are going to be, and it's going to be like, why are they doing this?
I did like the bit when they're like, it's bee puns again. Why is it bee puns?
No, I thought it was a really very solid film.
Yes.
Great soundtrack as well.
Yes, very good soundtrack.
Good soundtrack, good visuals.
I like the song at the end, which was Imagine Dragons.
You know what? Not a big fan of that one.
No?
No, I think it's a bit much for Imagine Dragons.
Fair. To be honest, like, I like the song in the first one as well, and that was... what was the band that did the song Fireflies? That was like a real big hit in like 2010, and then never again.
Owl City.
Yeah, Owl City did the song in the first one.
Yeah.
And I do like that song, but I'm not a big fan of Owl City.
Yeah, I think I preferred that song. What else was good? Post-credits? Do you stick around?
Well, the thing is, one of those post-credit scenes had been in the trailer.
Yes, it had.
So,
which is hilarious, to be fair.
Yeah, because part of me was like, where are they even going to fit in this scene?
Yeah. That's the little kitten eating all the waffles, or the pancakes, isn't it? Yeah, that's a pretty cool one. Second one, I thought was a bit outdated, a bit cringy. Right, yeah, there was a Rickroll, wasn't it? It was a Rickroll, and yeah. I think like the thing is as well is you kind of expect that it's not gonna subvert you. Like, I don't know. You know what? If they did it a bit more, because it kind of shows someone going to click the link, don't they? If they just said like, and now a preview of Frozen, I think it might have been a bit more effective or something. Yeah. Or imagine if they did it from Infinity War, the Avengers 4. That would have got. That would have got everyone.
Can you imagine if in the Infinity War trailer? No, Infinity War post-credits. it just plays that clip again.
Yeah.
So it's like
end of
not
every
again.
Disney movie. That'd be great.
But yeah, no, it was really solid film.
And then briefly, do you want to talk about the cameos?
Yeah, I was about to say, Sonic had a few more lines this time.
Yeah.
Still no appearance of Mario. Apparently, did a bit of research. Apparently, it was a rights thing.
Okay.
And to be honest, not surprised considering what Illumination are meant to be doing the Mario movie now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Interesting.
that could be next year or the year after.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be surprised that Mario doesn't show up.
Plus, Fix It Felix is kind of a parody on Mario anyway.
Yeah. I thought the Fix It Felix Calhoun stuff was funny as it happened, but like I didn't need to see more than that. It's a bit of like I like the characters a lot, but they didn't really have anything else to do that they could have done.
What about so when they go to World of Disney?
Yeah, that was like an extended sequence. That was that was Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear.
Was it really?
Yeah,
that's nice. That's pretty good.
And I think a few of the other actual voice actors.
I was going to say we had Groot. That sounded pretty accurate. Although they could have just reused lines, obviously, from Guardians 2.
Yeah, that could just been
I loved seeing Baby Groot. That was a nice little surprise.
Yeah, no, that very much felt like Disney giving themselves a high five.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great sequence with like the First Order.
Did I imagine we got a Stan Lee cameo? Did I imagine that?
No, that happened. It was Stan Lee talking to Iron Man.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
His I was going to say Wimby I'm guessing he probably has an Avengers 4 cameo, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe. Because that film had wrapped.
This is his first post-death cameo, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was more like than usual.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Yeah, exactly. Who else did we get? Yeah, we got some Star Wars characters. Anthony Daniels. I'm pretty sure that was him. I didn't look, but I was.
I didn't check that, but yeah, that probably was. And
all the Disney princesses, which I thought that was quite a fun, small little side story actually. In that they kind of make reference to the fact that it's always like a man saving them kind of thing, and then at the end when Ralph's falling, and they say, "It's a big, strong man we can save." I thought that was quite fun.
I thought that was quite an interesting inclusion. I thought it was quite fun.
Yeah, generally, I think it's one of the most entertaining. If you were to go to the cinema today and you want sheer entertainment, then this is definitely probably top of the list.
Yes.
Unless you really want to watch Crimes of Grindelwald.
Oh, God.
Spoiler alert, you don't.
If you want to hear our thoughts on that film, listen to last episode.
Yeah.
Which I believe the discussion on the film lasted a lot longer than this. And it was a lot more lively, let's say. Not to spoil our views. But don't watch it.
No. Watch this instead. It's way more fun. This is a very fun film. I'm excited for the holiday season. Lots of fun films to come. Okay, my don't at me for this week. I went to see the Suspiria new adaptation. I don't know if you know anything about the original.
Nope.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, I haven't seen the original, but I've heard it's pretty crazy. So I wanted to see this new one. It's directed by Luca Guadagnino, who did Call Me By Your Name last year, and I thought he's a really good director, and I kind of want to see a remake of a weird 70s horror film. So I did. And I thought it was really good.
So what's it called?
Suspiria.
Okay.
Tilda Swinton stars. That's probably the only person people will know who's in it. Oh no, sorry. Dakota Johnson actually is the lead. I can literally only describe it in a couple of words. Now it's bold, and it's nuts. But it's fantastic.
Those are good words.
Yes. It's one of those films that comes along. It's an 18 for a start, which I haven't seen in a cinema in God knows how long.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's just it feels like ultimate creative freedom. So if you're really charred by the recent sort of studio films and just universes and anything that kind of feels forced and not real on the cinema kind of thing, this is like the ultimate kind of relief for that, because it's just there are no boundaries on this film at all. Tilda Swinton's amazing, not just in the one role, let's say. Yeah, it's brilliant. I don't know what I'm not atting me out. I'm just saying, like, go and watch it because it's nuts. And if you,
I was going to say, this is basically, we called this section "Don't At Me," but it's basically recommendation of the week.
Yeah. Because I just wanted to talk about it. It's something I think people who watch the show would enjoy as well, because it's very fantasy. It's very 70s fantasy. There's like it's not like a lot of horror movies like you see at the moment, because in a lot of these horror movies you're seeing at the moment, it's kind of like, is this person possessed for real? I'm not going to believe you until I see it. Oh no, it's not real. It's a demon kind of thing. This is just like they're witches, and we're just going to tell you that from the offset. That we're not going to beat around the bush here. It's such a throwback. It's crazy. It's the music is beautiful. Tom York from Radiohead has produced the soundtrack.
Okay.
And
cool.
the cinematography is gorgeous. It's shot a bit like a sort of 70s film in a slightly squeezed aspect ratio. The costumes are all amazing. Definitely worth a watch. I'm not sure what the critics have said about it, but either way, don't at me.
Or do.
At Synop Podcast. Worth a watch.
So, that's our show for the week, I think, right?
Yeah.
If you want to follow us, as Nick just said, the Twitter account is at Synop Podcast for updates about the podcast. And to be honest, I've been getting into the habit of, if there's a news story that I won't get to cover in the actual show, I'll just write a very short tweet and be like, probably won't talk about this week, but look at this. So worth giving a follow. You can follow me at Haddo Inc.
And I'm at Mick Nortimer.
If you are listening to this on iTunes, and obviously subscribe, leave a rating. If you're listening to this on SoundCloud, I think you can follow. And if you're watching this on the Haddo Inc. YouTube channel, hey, cool. There's plenty of ways to listen.
Yeah.
Every Friday we do our Synopt Let's Play. At the moment we're playing Lego Harry Potter Years 1 to wherever. Because we don't know how far we're going to get through the Harry Potter story.
It'll be until people stop watching Fantastic Beasts.
So we're going to be on Harry Potter 20, I guess. Yeah, I don't think there's much more to say than that. Next week, nothing beyond the usual. I did some recording last weekend in our week off for the Let's Play that's going to take the place of Lego Harry Potter when that finishes its run, which is A Hat in Time with my sister Vicky for a show called GBK. That first recording session went very well. I'm very much looking forward to releasing that. But that seems like a weird thing to plug now, because it's not going to be released for like another month or so. But first thing that came to mind. Do you have anything to plug?
My Christmas tree lights into the wall, because it's December.
That was forced.
No, I've got nothing to plug.
But yeah, next week's episode will be on Spider-Man PS4. It's a bit belated, but we're going to talk about the DLCs as well.
Hopefully.
As much as we can do.
Yeah.
As much as Nick can play in the next week. Yeah, join us the usual time next Monday. Until then, I've been Phill.
And I've been Nick.
Thank you very much for listening.
Ciao for now. Bye. Speaking of trucks. Trucks deliver games.
You didn't realise we're not doing the links anymore.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll just cut then when I...
You have to listen to find out when I cut.